If you log in on two systems at the same time in the same room, it echoes. I think that's what's happened just now.
Shirley,
You'll have to minimize the volume on the other computer then, so it doesn't echo.
Yeah. So that's just everybody now. You need to mute. Everybody on Zoom mutes. You may be a co-host. I can mute people. Yeah. Lovely, and you see Yale. Yale, I've muted you. We're all fine now. Okay, it should be fun. Brilliant. Yale, don't touch anything. I've muted you. Okay.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. We're going to start by introductions, I think, is the best way to do it. I'm sorry for the delay in starting today's meeting. Thank you to Elective for hosting us today at Elmhurst Primary. Really lovely room. And also some beautiful work. Anyway, I'm Ed Boyle. I'm the chair of SACRE, and I'm doing this on the other folks panel.
I'm a free teacher and counsellor with the Folio for Education Day. My name is Marie Hardy. I'm a deputy head over at Brampton Primary School. And I'm on the teacher panel.
Councillor, I'm going to be local one councillor, having the meeting social crime, and thanks for having me.
Hello everyone, I'm Jane Lockton, councillor for South. I'm elected calendar, I'm the teacher panel.
Hi there, I'm Shirley. I'm the leadership team of the primary school, and I'm the teachers panel. They're all saying they can't hear us.
Would you like me to try the volume from my machine?
Our problem in the room is we're probably going to, if I talk like this, can you all hear?
Yes, of course, that's it.
So everybody's got to use their diaphragm today in the room, please. So Clerk, our advisor here, and maybe Ed will just go from the screen.
Yes, so yeah, we have Charlotte, perhaps you can introduce yourself, your guest speaker, I believe. Yes, you could just introduce yourself.
Hi, sorry, I think you're meaning me. If not, I'm just jumping in anyway. I'm Charlotte. I work for LBN in Children's Services in the Change and Improvement team. And I'm just guest for a few minutes to share one quick agenda item. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
Hi, I'm Taranum Afshar. I work at Ranelagh Primary School, and I'm representing teacher panel today. I pass it to Ellen.
Right, I'm sorry, but I can't hear. I'm Ellen and I'm on the Church of England panel.
Thank you, Ellen.
Yale.
Hi, I can't hear you all very well, but I'm Yael Callahan, member of the other faith panel representing the Jewish faith.
Alicia?
Hi, I'm Alicia at the University of East London, training RE teachers, and I'm on the teachers panel.
Rena?
Hi, I'm Katrina Martin. I'm here to represent the Student RE Matters as a visitor.
Kishore?
Evening, everybody. My name is Kishore Vasani and I'm representing the Hindu community.
Steve?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm Steve. I'm a RE teacher at St Bonaventure's Catholic School. I'm afraid I can't hear very well either. And in particular, I can't hear the chair very well. I'm afraid it's very muffled. And could I ask anyone else in the room to speak maybe quite slowly and deliberately? Because it's really hard to follow at the moment.
Yes, we could. Okay, we're going to try and swap our mediums around. Okay, so we need to mute.
Right, we're trying a different way. Is that clearer for you all?
That is much better.
Yeah.
Okay, so the microphone now is here, everyone. So it's nearer Ed, which will help.
We don't have the volume.
No, we're gonna.
We'll just have to.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully people can hear me now, even if I'm facing the screen. Clear to everybody?
Yes, Ed. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Sarah.
Hello, I'm Sarah Heath from Clash at School and I'm representing the teacher panel today.
Actor.
Evening, everyone. After Rauf, and I'm representing Sunni Muslims for today. Thank you.
Shirley.
Hi, my name's Shirley Fortune. I work at Kirkman Primary School and I'm on the teachers panel today.
Pooja.
Hello everyone, my name is Pooja Kaur. I work at Essex Primary and I'm on the other faith panel representing the Sikh faith.
Thank you. Great.
So I know we have some apologies.
Yes, Chair, apologies for my absence from Chetna Gandhi. She has IT problems, apologies. I'm Joe Mathers. Asma Hussain, Councillor Danny Falora, and Tuffing RPP Tuffing Mohammed have sent their apologies.
And I've also know a long-standing one from Ruth Everett. She's off at the moment, isn't she? So, yeah, that's great.
I did actually skip the first two agenda items, which are election of chair and election of vice chair.
But we need to do those now because it's once a year that we do it.
Okay, this is the once a year.
But our usual practice is our chair stands for more than a year. So we usually have 2 or 3 years and we decide. So my recommendation to us as a SACRE would be, as Ed has done his first year, that we continue to ask Ed to stand as chair and Anne as vice chair. But somebody other than me would need to propose that and people would need to ratify that either by thumbs up or hands or whatever. And what we do, for those of you who are new to SACRE, is we have a rolling chairship. So we go through our different groups. So hopefully Anne will move up. Okay, I'm muting, yeah. So Anne would then move to chair, and then because Marie was our previous chair, we would have somebody from the Church of England as our vice chair, and we've tended over the years to come up with this little system. There is nothing that says this is the system we need to democratically do, but there was a feeling that then every group had the chairmanship for a couple of years. So if people are happy with that, somebody needs, go on, Shirley.
And then can I ask for nominations for the chair for SACRE for this municipal year, please? I'm very happy to propose Ed as chair. I second that. Yeah. Are there any other nominations?
You've got a question there, I've got someone's hand.
Taranum, are you wanting to say something?
I was just raising my hand for the proposal, but it's fine.
So a nomination for Ed, is that agreed? Agreed. Agreed.
Sorry, but we couldn't agree if we can't hear what other people say in the room.
Oh,
okay.
The mic's over here.
The mic's over here. So there is a nomination for Ed for chair, and Shirley's now asking us to show through our hands if we are happy with Ed to continue for another year as our SACRE chair.
Thank you, Claire. That looks like it's agreed. Thank you.
Unanimously elected whether Ed wanted. We didn't ask Ed if he wanted to stand. Notice that, everybody. And neither are we going to ask Anne. Anne, no, are you happy to stand again? Okay, Anne's happy to stand again. So I think, Shirley, we need someone to nominate Anne.
Yes, please. Anne is nominated. Is that seconded?
I'll second it, yeah.
And is that agreed, please?
We now need to vote and show our hands up if we agreed for Anne to be our vice chair.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, that was exciting. So agenda item 4, declarations of interest. I think most of us will already have submitted any declarations of interest, but if anything has changed in the meantime, that anyone wants to raise.
I need to get a letter down from you and more or something.
So no declarations of interest to record. We go on to item 5, which is management of business. So we've got the order of business on the agenda. Let me just check where was
so we were going to see if we could pop Charlotte in first.
Okay.
And then she can go on. But I can notice that Kishore and Pooja, you've got your hands up still. I'm not sure if that's because you want to ask something or you just haven't lowered it. No, they've lowered it. That's fine.
Very enthusiastic voters. Okay, so shall we just start then, before we go through the minutes, perhaps we can start with Charlotte. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you all so much for having me. As I said, my name's Charlotte. I'm part of the team at Newham Council, and I know you've got a packed agenda, so I'm going to keep it as brief as possible, but I thought it was really important just to highlight some of the work we're doing around our education settings and around creating an education vision for 2030. I'm just going to attempt to share my screen. Oh, I can't share my screen, but that's okay.
Right, we'll sort that. You will be in just a moment. We have the power.
Excellent. I've got faith in the tech. But I know, everyone in the room is coming from your backgrounds and your beliefs. You're probably all really in tune and understand the importance of a vision and bringing a group of people together on a journey to achieve the same thing and aligning our values towards that as well. So that's what we're really trying to achieve. We're really trying to develop a shared vision for education that's inclusive, empowering, and also equitable. I'm gonna move through some of the content of the slides, which I'll pull up when I'm able to.
You can now.
Oh, I can now. Excellent. Thank you for that. Hopefully you can see my slides. So why do we need a vision? So as I said, we're developing it for education. We understand we're not trying to change the way education is done fundamentally, but we're looking to really bring everyone together to be able to offer even better opportunities for our young people to collaborate, to shape the direction, to share our commitment to innovate, kind of with this co-responsibility, and also to celebrate the achievement that we have in Newham. I'm going to quickly run through our schedule of what we're doing for our engagement, but I wanted to first start just on this point. This is a word cloud and some images from our extended education leadership team of kind of our strong foundation and what we really love about Newham. And I really wanted to highlight the fact that we do have really strong communities. We have really strong education and learning settings in Newham, and we're not saying that there's anything wrong with them. We understand that we're building from such a strong foundation, but we do recognize that there's still a need as the world changes, as we come out of this really incredible time of the pandemic and everything that accompanied that. There's a need to come together to journey forward. And then I wanted to share this as well, because I think I really want to highlight young people are at the heart of our vision. So this is a visual minutes from a youth assembly event where we captured young people's thoughts on their future and what kind of jobs and what kind of employment environment they see for the future. So just wanted to throw that in there as well. But just highlighting the journey of where we're going with this engagement is that we launched the engagement with letters to all of our head teachers, and we've had several workshops with their head teachers. Really kind of interestingly enough, the topic of the future is kind of technology, but we ran these workshops with, we brought in a facilitator called School of International Futures, and it was really kind of stripped back to kind of parchment paper and pictures, and coming together and really stirring our creativity about what we feel the future of education is and what our teachers and our head teachers feel that is. We've had some student engagement, and we've got more student engagement planned. Really privileged to attend the RE Matters group. I think it was last week now, forgive me, my brain's gone. It was really amazing, such incredible young people, and gathered their thoughts around what it is they feel is important in education in the future. I really loved so many of their responses was all about relationship, and was all about kind of how they feel in the school and how they feel accepted and how they feel they want to relate to their teachers. So that was really refreshing and really great to hear, and all of that's been captured and will be added as we kind of culminate and bring all of this engagement together to represent the views across the community. And we have several other kind of events happening with some of our different stakeholders in the community. And then the hope is to launch at our education conference in autumn. I'm going to finish in a minute, and I can take some questions if there are any. And I will share these slides. That we've had some education vision workshops, as I said, and here's just some images from that. Like I said, you know, quite down to the kind of creative conversations and really looking at what issues we see in the community and how we want to bolster our education settings over the next few years. And then here's just a summary of some of the next steps we're doing over the engagement period leading into summer. I have a survey with only 7 questions. I'd love for you all to fill out if that's okay. I'll put it in the chat, but I'll get Claire, if that's okay, you can send out the link and also my slides as well. And that's just, it is a survey that I've created that all stakeholders, from a young person to a parent to a teacher to really strong leaders in the community like yourselves, can quickly fill out, so that we can see the different trends and patterns and what's really correlating across all people involved within our education settings and our community. So you know, we were at an education partnership conference today, and we were kind of talking around the concept of the instability in the world and what really kind of brings people together. And the opposite of instability we talked about is community. And so I really wanted this opportunity to come to all of you as really key faith leaders and pillars of the community, just to ensure that you're aware of this. And also, I'd love for you to participate in any way. The survey would be great. You're free to contact me at any point after as well if you'd like a more in-depth conversation, or you're really passionate about further engagement. I can definitely try and get you along to some other sessions or things that we're doing. But yeah, that's kind of the spiel from me. I'll stop sharing my screen, and Ellen, did you have a question? I can see your hands up.
Yes, I do, actually. I was aware of what's been going on because I could see one of my heads in the photo, but I must admit, I'm really concerned that governors came way down on your list. I think an awful lot of people do not realise the important role. They are accountable. And I would hope that you would make certain that those meetings are held sooner rather than later. I'm the chair of the Newham's Governors Association, and we keep getting this, that we're forgotten. And I'm sure you haven't forgotten us, but I was concerned where we are on the list.
Definitely not forgotten at all, Ellen. Thank you. Yeah, this is not kind of the order of preference, but we do want to make sure our governors have a voice. As you said, they're really important, but working closely with Vic Firm and the Director of Education, and I'll feed that back to him, that we really do need to make sure that we can get as
I've
many
got a meeting.
people in.
I've been waiting for a meeting with him since January, and I've got it on the 5th of July. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we can tackle him from both angles, Ellen, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Was there any other questions at all? I'll take that as a no, and thank you again for having me. I'm gonna pop my contact details and the link to the survey in the chat, and I'll hopefully, Claire will be able to send around my slides and that as well, just so that you've got them to hand. But thanks for having me today, and hope you all stay cool in this lovely weather, and I'll leave you to the rest of your really important packed schedule.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Thank you, Charlotte. And perhaps you might consider coming back in a few months when you've got some of the results.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. I'll liaise with Claire with that. But yeah, that would be really good to come back. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. So yeah, next agenda item is minutes from the last meeting. I take the minutes as read, but anyone who spots issues with them, if you can just speak now. Yeah.
May I do an item arising?
Yes.
If you haven't got there, which I just wondered what had happened with the year of faith statement and nothing at all.
Nothing is the answer there. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes, it was. I think the problem is that there are now so many motions waiting to go through the council that it's unlikely that we will ever get to it. Certainly it won't be this year, possibly not in our lifetime.
Decade.
But I mean, maybe we'll be able to refresh and revisit it once the by-elections are over and we get back into the pattern of council meetings. But I'm afraid the short answer is nothing at the moment.
Yeah, and there were a few action points as well, weren't there? Sorry, were there any more people, before we go on to the action points, were there any more corrections that people wanted to point out or omissions? There was the GDPR protocols, I think.
We've got something on that in this meeting. Yeah.
Oh, is that later on?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. And I think next. Yeah, I think the report has been uploaded, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's done.
And writing to schools offering congratulations on exam results.
Yep, done.
Great, thanks, Shirley. And then include details on activities of the term networking future annual report.
Yeah, that's
something to do.
It's in the future. Yeah.
To do right now. And then giving a presentation to the school forum. That's a couple of things for you here.
Sorry, I'm just putting Charlotte's thing in the chat in an email, then it's done, and I'll remember to send it later. Sorry, Ed, which page are
On
we
the
on?
monitoring of RE and collective worship.
Yes, they've all gone out. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. And the
They've got till the end of term to send them back.
and there was also the idea of putting an article in the governing body newsletter.
Yeah, I wrote something for the governing body
Right.
newsletter.
Everything I've noted. The equality and diversity policy that was circulated.
It was circulated, and Sarah and I are very grateful for the time lots of you took and the feedback that you gave. It's a massive piece of work, which is understating what Sarah's doing. But you did get lots of feedback that was helpful, wasn't it, to improve things, Sarah? And we basically had a meeting where we were thinking that we were almost over the line, and then something changed, and now we've got to do another piece of work, and then Sarah will go back to this other piece of work. Is that a fair summary, Sarah?
Yes, it was quite a journey, but you'll be glad to know that it was ratified by governors this week.
Yay! Round of applause to Sarah.
So thank you, everybody, for your contributions. It was a very, very thorough consultation. I'm very grateful.
Okay, that's the minutes. Unless there's anyone got anything else they want to say.
I'm sorry, but I've been reminded that our police officer, Raphael, is
It's not very well.
Have we recorded that?
Yes, he's in the,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm meeting with his replacement was at another meeting tonight before they knew that they were replacing Tufts. So I'm meeting with them in July just to get them up to speed, and then they'll join us next term.
Right, thank you.
Excellent. Anne, I think it's over to you on the Forum of Faiths.
Well, since our last meeting, which was
February,
we explored and enjoyed number of festivals, and we've had Easter, Lent and Easter. We've had Ramadan and Eid, and just about to have another Eid. But not, I think, another Ramadan.
No. Only once a year.
We only have one.
Yeah, one. Yeah.
And we've had Passover. We've had Waisaki.
Yeah.
No,
Vasaki.
Vasaki, yeah.
We've had another one.
Diwali.
Yes, Diwali. Well, no, not since February.
not since February. Diwali was before,
I'm
wasn't
just
it?
thinking of the spring. festival.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holly.
Holly, lots of lovely things. I think it's a very common thing for people to celebrate the change of the year and the starting of seeing green shoots and the leaves and the flowers, the slightly longer days, the marginally better weather makes everybody feel, oh, this is a new start. And so it's very, I think probably every faith that's ever been known celebrates something at that time of the year, because it's it goes so deep inside us. So we had lots of fun and games. We also, of course, that was shortly followed by the coronation of our king. And there again, we had lots of, I think, 190 different grants were given out for parties and celebrations to mark this occasion. And certainly, I mean, clearly it's an Anglican service, and I felt that it showed our pageantry and English and British pageantry at its best. Everybody seems to behave very well, apart from those few people with banners and things. And I was, for myself, I was delighted, having seen films of Queen Elizabeth's coronation, where it seemed to me that a little woman was sort of, yes, you know, cowed by loads of blokes all sort of going like this. And I was absolutely delighted that it was much more. It wasn't sufficiently inclusive for me, but it was much less bad than it was before.
I liked how they also had all those different faith leaders represented. Yeah,
that bit.
Yes.
Yes. So not only was it inclusive of women, and there were some women around, but there were also lots of different shades of Christianity, but also very firm representation from the world faiths. And I think it was wonderful, particularly to see the Sikh gentleman who in his 90s was absolutely determined to go and present the gauntlet to the king. I thought that was wonderful. And to see the gospel choir, you know, the music, our own Shirley J.
I was going to say Shirley was there.
Girl, and she composed one of the pieces of music for the coronation out of 12. So that was pretty good, I reckon. So that seemed to be very good. And then we had a faith forum meeting a couple of weeks ago, attended and graced by the presence of my friend Marie here. And we talked about what happens preparing for death and then what we think happens afterwards. And Marie talked, Jane, lots of people were there to talk about how in their faith they prepare their traditions to prepare for death. You know, are you meant to prepare, or are you meant to leave that up to the creator and not start mucking about and pretending that you have some control? Because of course we all know that we don't have any control at all about these things. But the other thing was that we talked then about what our vision and our understanding of what might happen after death. And of course, as so often happens, it was amazingly similar.
Was that new basically?
Yes, that's the new form of faith. Yeah. So
it's very similar on the weekends, recorded for Oxford University.
Yes, I saw that, but too late before I was able to do it. But apparently death is the in thing.
Well, just to say how death is the in thing, as many of you know, SACRE and I are on the national SACRE executive, and we're working at the moment with the National Funeral Directors Union Partnership. I think it's called Partnership. And they're very interested in agreed syllabuses and what's being taught about death and religion and religious literacy. And so next year, as part of SACRE's webinar, there will be some sharing, because there's some resources that they're producing, and we're also sharing with them what Newham has in our agreed syllabus, as well as what Lewisham has, and that's sort of helping them shape what they're doing. So that's quite an exciting partnership as well. Just so death is very in.
Right.
Terrible pun. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
It'd be worth then connecting with University of Oxford, because they're doing a big project around that.
Okay.
Maybe I can filter that into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
We just covered that recently with them. They were covering different faiths around all the subject matters you just mentioned. So they're going to publish something soon.
Great.
I'll filter that through.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Amar.
Thanks, Anne. Next agenda item is a student RE matters update. So I think that's over to you, Katrina.
Hello, yes, good evening, everyone. Always a joy to follow from Anne and talking about different faith things that are happening, because there we are doing the same with the students. I am sorry, I'd really tried to get some students to come tonight. I think we've hit, some of them have got exams on at the moment and couldn't, so I did tell them that you would rather hear from them than me, but sorry, you have me. You have a report in front of you, so I won't go through the report with you, but just to say that it's been an interesting year. There's been some health issues that we have gone through, and but it's been great to have 5 schools with us this year, and we've had a very busy time since we last saw you. So March the 9th, that was our chance so Steve knows it was a very busy day on March the 9th when we had the representatives from the different religions and worldviews come, which is always, the students always love that. And actually, I had some feedback from them last week, and that's one of the things that they really, really enjoy is hearing from people. In fact, there was a great quote, if I can just find it. We've learnt a lot. Many, they said religious figures, but that is religious and worldview representatives, and we were left amazed. So there you go. So that's been really good. We were also joined by Sir Stephen Timms, which was great as well. And we made films, and the students really enjoyed being involved with actually doing the filming. They'd been they were using a microphone that had been used to interview members of the royal family. So they were very excited about that.
Yeah, that was a big takeaway, that our filmmaker works with the royal household. That was what they were most excited about.
They were incredibly excited about that. But they also we also managed to, as you can see, Claire's put up there now, the films that we have made, and when they're sort of finally finished, they'll all be available on the RE Matters YouTube channel for you all to have a look at. So we've got films there that have got interviewing students, interviewing the representatives, and a mix of both. So we're really excited to have got this far. And then in our last meeting, we were using an opportunity to start planning assemblies, or in fact, because we have one in May and one in June. So the May one was working on planning for assemblies, and it was great actually last week to hear some of their plans that they've made and to go through their presentations, and we had a good time doing that. So some of the brilliant feedback that I think you'll like is that I've learned to be more respectful as a person and stopped stereotyping people based on their religion. That's what somebody said.
That's exactly what we wanted someone to say on this project. So brilliant. Well done them.
Someone else said, RE Matters has helped me to become more respectful as I've learned about more cultures in an engaging and fun way. It's a safe place where you can trade ideas and opinions. Also, you see or understand things with a new perspective. So much can be learned, and the way that you think or act towards others completely change. So isn't that, another one is, again, learning, the one about being amazed about the people that they've met. But actually, I bumped into one of the students at the bus stop as I was leaving, and I said, so what have you enjoyed? And she said, it's just meeting diverse people and getting to talk with them and to getting to understand their point of view. And that's what we're there to do, aren't we? So that was fantastic. So it's been a really busy year. They've given me some great quotes to be able to put into our marketing for next year. Of course, they love socializing with other students, and the problem with a year is it kind of takes them a while to get warmed up and to talk with each other, and then of course the year's done. But we're hoping to get more schools involved with that next year.
Shall I play a bit of an extract of some films so you can see what they've produced?
Yes, love films.
Or not.
Or not. There shouldn't be a problem.
It does work, Claire.
Wait a minute. I've got it on my USB. It's all right. I can go to them on my USB. I'll probably have to stop the
just
share.
download Claire.
I was just looking. Has anyone got any questions?
Hello?
Hello, Steve.
Hi, yeah, not a question, but a comment. Absolutely great. Very, very inspiring. And, well done, Catherine and Claire, because it's so, having been at some of the meetings, seeing the students interact, seeing them interact with the
with the visitors. It was really impressive. The videos are fantastic. I hope we get to see one in a minute because they are fantastic and they really showcase, the diversity and the engagement of the students, which, I saw firsthand. So I just want to say well done. I think absolutely fantastic program. Well done. And we love hosting it at St. Bond's, and long may it continue.
Well, it does feel like our second home coming to St. Bond's. We love it. So thank you. And I must say that the assemblies that they're working on as well, they're going to be great when they get released. Oh, I think she's got the power. Go,
Oh,
Claire.
wait a minute. Did I share my sound? Wait a minute. I didn't remember if I ticked share. Oh, I did share sound. Okay. Let's try. Let's see if this can tell me if you can.
I think that a stereotype is like based on assumptions or past experiences.
I think what is stereotype is when we judge other people by the color of their skin.
Stereotypes arise when we have to deal with somebody who is very different from ourselves.
When you're grouping people together and you expect them to be a certain type of way, dress a certain type of way, speak a certain type of way without actually knowing who they are.
From my personal experience, I learned that when I came to my primary school, people thought I was Hindu, but I'm actually a Christian.
Stereotyping is taking just one particular expression and saying that's how everybody believes.
When people judge others due to their religion and what they might have heard about them.
So we can carry on, but that gives you a bit of a flavour, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I'll see if I can play you another one. Wait a minute. Because actually when the students talk about how you overcome it is quite nice as well. So let me see if I can get that up and pause it. And then it's like, okay, we could do this. We could do this. Come on now.
The Plastic Girls were there as well, Sarah. They will appear.
Film. No. Oh, this is what happens. Sometimes the computer doesn't pick up the film. Right, let me try again. Stop share. Hopefully this time it's got the film. Here we are, A Plastic Girl, Sarah.
Get rid of religious stereotypes by educating younger people that everyone's equal, helping them and opening them to different possibilities and different aspects of that certain identity of that person.
Ask them why they do certain activities. Like, for example, when you see a Hindu person or a Muslim person praying on a mat or worshipping towards a specific object, we might not understand and we can sort of stereotype it.
I think that we could educate young people and we should be more social and get to know other people from different religions.
You may trust them first and then believe them, and then once you get to know them, you could think differently of them.
Educating people from different faiths about other religions, and also, but mostly to educate the younger generation.
Stereotypes are mainly passed down, especially from people who have experienced one last experience and just assume that the entirety of a group is like that.
Get people to talk together about their own worldviews and their opinions so that they can all just connect with each other.
So we didn't have all the pupils wanting to be filmed because they know this is going on YouTube. Okay, so there's a lot more pupils who had things to say that we've captured in those meetings than you will see on those videos, because these were the bravest of the brave. I think that's fair to say, isn't it, Katrina?
Yeah. No, definitely. But it's been great. And actually listening to them do their assemblies as well was really good to see them growing in confidence, and they've got amazing PowerPoint and skills that I would like to pinch from them. But so it's been a good year, and hopefully we can build on that again. It's been so nice to have it as a more normal year this year, and hopefully we can build on that even more next year.
we'll let you know when the films are on YouTube, and you can always push my YouTube channel up from 40 subscribers should you wish to. Oh yeah, I'm going big places, Anne. With the funniest thing was one week I went from 25 to 40, and then you get a thing from YouTube saying, would you like to monetize your followers? And I thought there's obviously something where something jumps in a percentage, because 15 extra people is not, 40 people can. No, I didn't want to do that, but it just made me laugh that obviously for it was over a 50% growth. Yeah. So of course that was their anyway. Whatever, yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Treens.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
I think it's over. Well, we're on to the SACRE priorities. I've got it as page 17. Marked slightly different on the agenda.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're doing really well. Mostly greens. And obviously we're sending out something later this month to survey teachers a year on from the new agreed syllabus, what they like and what they don't like. So that's an action point. That's why that's red. It hasn't been sent out yet. So I'm waiting for the end of GCSEs, and I've waited for it will be the end of June, beginning of July, because at that point I can probably get most responses from people. So that'll be interesting. That will tell us more at our next meeting.
Right. I'm not sorry, what's the blue bits?
Blue is when I've started working on something. It should really be amber, but when you do amber in these things, you can't see it. Right. So it's like a blue traffic light because it shows up. Yeah, so the blues sometimes are ongoing, or they're things that we've started but we haven't quite finished. But yeah, all good, I would say, for the year.
Unless there are any questions, we can move on to agenda item 10, which is, oh yes, the prayer spaces advice for schools. So, well, this is an update from the working party, but I think
we finished working, didn't we? AXA, Sarah, who else? Ellen were part of our working group. So you have where we got the prayer advice to. It's a dramatically different, I would say, improved document from the one that Ellen was probably on SACRE when it was done 18 years ago, I would imagine. And I was with Catherine Wright, my predecessor, last week, Thursday, Friday, and I mentioned that we'd updated this. And so I did say I would send her an update. She couldn't believe that we'd been using it for all that time, Ellen. Anyway, so I suppose it's comments, because we need to ratify this. And then the next stage would be that we then share that with schools.
So then I guess I go that's to the group. I guess we have to ratify it by our different groups.
Yes.
Okay.
So what we might need to do is maybe talk all together if there are any concerns or points or additions, and then ultimately we agree or disagree with those, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a bit difficult to do breakout rooms with some of us on Zoom and some of us in person in different groups. So Ellen, I think tonight you are the Church of England. It's always nice when you can be the Church of England, I find. So Ellen, I don't think you've got to discuss with anyone. But has anyone got any thoughts? If you've read it, I hope you have read it. Clear?
Yeah, it's really a lot of detail, isn't it?
Yeah.
For all the different things.
I mean, it's supposed to be practical for schools to help them through.
Yeah, sure.
Pages a difference.
19.
These little ones.
So the big ones at the bottom, if you go back to page 19. Yeah. You're on the collective worship advice. You've gone too far. So find 19, go back. Yeah. And
With the Muslim people, we won't need anything else for Ramadan. That'll come later on, separate advice, isn't it?
Yeah. And we have our Ramadan advice that goes out. So right, nobody's saying anything. So do we take this as we need to do this in groups then? So Ed, you probably need to call the different groups.
I never remember the names of which group's which.
So shall we go with let's do the LA group. So that's SACRE and our 3 counsellors in the room.
Oh, who's the three? Samara and me.
Jane. And
All right.
so,
Yeah.
Okay.
You can either go off together because you are all in the room. We don't have to.
What would you like us to do? Go and
Basically,
are you willing to ratify it as a group?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
I'll
think
read
it's
it.
brilliant. And I've been very happy.
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
So that's the LA. Teachers, there's a mixture. Some of you in the room and some of you on, including Alicia. What do you think? Are you happy? Either you need to, I suppose, put up a reaction with a thumbs up if you're happy with the advice. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Alicia. Taranum, thank you, Charlene. And in the room? Okay, so that's passed. Church of England, Ellen. And then other faiths. So that's Ed, Yale, Kishore, Actor. Am I missing anybody? I think that's everybody who's here tonight, isn't it? Oh, Pooja, sorry, Pooja. Are we happy? Yeah, Kishore's got his thumb up, Actor's got his thumb up. Yale is waving, I presume that's yes, marvellous. Yes, Pooja's got her thumb up, okay.
And I think it's just almost a shame we don't have a side-by-side comparison with what it was before, because it's miles better. It's not just a little small improvement. I know it's been left a long time, but it's miles better.
But you know what? One of the things that this shows is the importance of us doing our priorities, because we've asked before for this advice to be updated, but the LA was not prepared to give me the days to do the work. And I said, well, then we can't update it. And actually where it got to was a problem with 2 schools where the LA thought we might get in trouble because our advice is so out of date. And actually it shows the importance of our planning and thinking strategically what we need. Because of course, once it was on there and we put a budget against it, then there was a conversation that we could have. So rather than this thing of us saying we'd like to do this, actually we've got to remember that we've got to be very precise with precise figures. And then it allows the LA, I think, better to be able to say yes or no, rather than this nebulous thing. And that's probably my fault, not anybody else's, but I'm just saying my learning from this.
Can I just ask a question about it? Looking at the Jummah prayers on a Friday, page 24.
Yeah.
How widely is that, particularly looking at the longer working days and possibly the shorter Friday? How widely is that being
we have 4 of our secondary, we have 4 of our secondary schools who do that already.
Yes.
So they have a longer working day, Monday to Thursday, so they can finish at lunchtime Friday. I don't think it was just done around Jummah prayers, but it worked very nicely with that and well-being. So it was a conversation with staff about Friday afternoons off. Which many people said having that ability to leave school at that point on a Friday actually helped them to come back much more refreshed on a Monday. So I don't think it's something that was just about Jummah prayers, but I think it was something that was looked at well-being and what would staff prefer.
And so it hasn't, issues haven't arisen for, the people it might not be so convenient for. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, particularly because it's secondary
Brothers and
school.
sisters in school,
Yes.
you're not involved in the prayer yourself. I just wonder.
So I think because it's secondary schools, it's nothing to do with primary schools.
They could be picking up.
They could, so they tend to go home and then go and pick up at a later point. And I think each of those schools do have an afternoon provision that students can stay on for. So they can stay and do a homework club, and they have other clubs that operate that teachers run on a Friday afternoon. So it isn't that there isn't a place for children at all. Marie and I and Taranum get a bit amazed because we work with Star Primary. And Star Primary, they're all in lessons by 8 a.m, aren't they? And they're finished by 2:15. And then they have provisions after school so that all their, so they have enough provisions for parents who are working that they stay and do their clubs, and then it finishes at normal time. So nobody's then having to look for childcare from 2:15. But we always get surprised when we do a staff meeting there and we have to be there at 2 in the afternoon. You think, staff meeting?
Meeting parents at 8 o'clock. They do very much to get their parents in that early.
They do,
Yeah, but they've changed over to that. And they're unlike any of our other schools, but it works very well in that particular community. But it's because they have all that extension stuff. And I think you'll find with the Gym of Prayers, there's extension possibilities.
I assume so. With the whole advice, I think the idea was the schools have got so many competing priorities.
Yes.
Ultimately, the schools have to figure out what they prioritize. And sometimes this is very important. Sometimes there's only so much they can do.
Yes.
I think it was important just to make that clear.
Yeah, we weren't trying to tell anybody what to do.
No, okay, some schools. It's not.
So the flexibility is there. So
Yes.
A lot of the schools are community schools, so they are adapted to their local community.
and it's very interesting from the figures as well. Like the Christianity comes out 35%.
Yeah.
And the Muslim, that comes out 34.8%.
No, it's not a lot of difference. Yeah.
So these are two biggest sectors, and pleased to know, and there's more religion in this world than anything else. Like, that's good.
That's great. It makes my job so much easier.
Yes.
And that's wonderful. Can I ask, have we any statistics or data on how much the prayer spaces are used and how much they're used? In the job I was in before this one, I was responsible for a number of staff, and particularly the Muslim staff, wanted to have somewhere to pray. And I always made it absolutely clear that it was there for everybody.
Absolutely.
Anyone to use. And I just wish to goodness that some of the others had used it. But as far as I could tell, very rarely was it used by other groups. Now, okay, that's what 10 years ago, but in school, is it different, or is that similar, or are we still finding out?
Ellen, do you want to?
Yeah, it's just I want to point out that if people in the room speak, we can't hear.
Okay.
So I suggest that the draft minutes get sent round to everyone so we know what we've missed.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a lot.
Okay, Anne was saying that 10 years ago in her previous job about a prayer room that was available for everyone, but mainly Muslim people using it. And she wondered in schools where we have these prayer spaces, who is mainly using them? Is it a mixture of people, or is it mainly Muslim students if they are there in number in a school? And I know from that we did a survey before we did this prayer room advice of all our secondary schools and who was using it and what they had available and when. And I think it's particularly lunchtime prayers, and it's particularly for Muslim pupils. There are very few Christian denominations that the children are 14 or 11 are saying, I must now do my prayers. Now, in certain schools like Langdon, there's a Christian Union that uses it around in the lunchtime. So there are examples in our schools where different groups will use that space, and then that is negotiated depending on the time of the year as to which group goes in at which point. But most of them are open to everyone. The vast majority, I would say, is Muslim pupils making use of it, and teachers.
I expected that would, but I just wonder with the whole issues around well-being these days, where people can perhaps and are advised to go and sit quietly for a little while and calm down, or till they feel better or something like that, if they might use them at other times from lunchtime. But perhaps that we'll see as that time goes by.
I think so. Anne was just saying it would be great if you saw other people from a well-being point of view using such spaces. Noted.
Great. In that case, unless there are any other questions, the advice has been ratified, and we move on to agenda item 11, which is the new collective worship advice document.
So the last time we did this was in 2016. And if you remember, we kindly gave our document to Barking and Dagenham, SACRE, who have had a working party that I've been working with this year to update it. And then they have kindly given me back my own document. And I've then hopefully Newhamized it. So what this was I felt, and I spoke to my bosses in the council, that instead of us having to go to the council for some money to do this piece of work next year, actually, if Barking and Dagenham were willing to pay for me to do this work with their SACRE, then we could be canny and save a bit. So that's what we've done. So this doesn't have to be the final draft. We can look at it again. I know it's a very long document. But if you have got comments, it would be really good if they could come to me, because what I would like to do is I would then like to share this with schools next year as an update, and do a short webinar for senior leaders, and then put on a conference for schools, which the LA can fund through my hours. So that would be fine. It's just doing these documents, when you can see there's so many pages, they just take a while. So I think that was 42 pages, whatever it is.
I had some comments just based on page 54. It said, first of all, the sucky, but we don't use the B, we use the B. And then it says, explain that when male Sikhs are baptized, obviously we baptize female as well. So I think that'd be important to encompass around core, and the meaning of core around that. So it's inclusive to both genders. But I
can take out the word male. I think I've missed that.
And just including core and the definition of what it means, princess and so forth. And where it says asking the children how men showed courage, but making sure that we're inclusive, because it's representation of both people, right?
I think to be fair, Amal, actually, I'm changing that back. That's because they're doing the actual story of the 5 people, and they were all men. But what we need is to put some notes in later to say how it's used today.
Just to bring it to because there were females that were baptized at that point along the way, but it's just, I just think when you read it, it just doesn't sound right to me.
We're not giving them the story. We're expecting them to go online, you see, and pick up the story, because that's what they'll do. So it's trying to give them some potential things that they could use to actually explain what happens at the commemoration of that. And all the animations for primary have the 5 guys on it. It doesn't have any females. That's why. But actually, what I'll do is I can add the note from history. There were women, even though they might not be in the story. And I can talk about today.
So maybe what we should do then, Claire, is you could send round a doc. Send round the doc, and then people can edit it in their own time. And then maybe in the next meeting we can.
That's fine.
It.
And I'm sure there'll be Barking and Dagenham in here somewhere. I did one of those word searches to see that I was knocking everything out. But you know me, I'm dyslexic, so there could be all sorts in here. What I am pleased about is we've improved our oh, that's so funny. Okay, I've just got to page 33 or page 61, however, if you're looking at it. SACRE are grateful to SACRE for allowing us to adopt. Okay, so we don't need any of that. That was because I've just literally changed Barking and Dagenham to Newham and not read the sentence. This is why it needed us to look at it. But we have improved those Ofsted criteria, which I think are improved. Steve.
Yeah, hi, Claire, thanks for it. And the thing I just wanted to ask about was there's a little paragraph on the contribution to British values.
Okay.
And I thought, well, 2 things.
Do you know which page that's on?
I'm sorry, but
don't worry.
I jumping around reading this on my phone, but hold on a second. Anyway, yeah, there's a section that says contribution to British values, and I wondered, it doesn't. I think.
Oh yeah, got it. Page 5, page 33. Go on.
Yeah, I didn't think the paragraph itself explained how worship contributes to British values, and I also wondered if it was really necessary. If it is necessary, I don't see why, because collective worship is a requirement in law in any case. It doesn't need to be justified in relation to any other legal requirement. But if it is necessary, perhaps it needs to be more fully explained.
Thank you. I've got that noted. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of schools, particularly primary and secondaries, probably not your school, Steve, but other schools that, take those 5 values and use it a lot as their basis for assemblies. And they don't always understand what collective worship is. So just trying to get them to go a bit deeper. But that isn't done in that bit there. So yeah, thank you for the point. Okay, so I'll go away.
If you
add a bit, share it.
Add comments, and then we can.
Great. So it looks like we've done lots of work when we haven't had to.
Hooked here.
Yeah, sorry.
I had that. Now it's moved on to you.
Should we pull would that cut it out?
Great. Right, then we'll move on to item number 12, which is the place of worship competition.
Yeah, Ed.
Thank you. The place of work, so judging times and volunteers.
Or do we want to do that before you go? Have you got time? Okay. Can we jump, because Alexia's got to go, so can we do conference?
Yes,
and then
okay, we'll skip straight, actually, yeah, sorry, we're going to just quickly jump to item 13, we'll come back to item 11. So then the SACRE conference, which took place, was it last month?
22nd of May?
Yeah, the end of last month.
Yeah.
And yes, so Alexia and I were lucky enough to attend, and of course Claire and SACRE were there. But perhaps you want to give some, well, between us, we'll.
So remember, go loud.
Okay.
Because you've got to get here. Teacher voice.
So I'm going to speak about one of the keynote speakers, Catherine Wright, who was Borough Advisor for Newham, and now she is currently CEO of Culham St Gabriel's Trust. And so her speech was emphasising the significance of amplifying voices and perspectives.
I'm going to stop you. Can you hear Alexia?
No.
Ellen, can you hear her?
Shall I go louder?
Louder and slower.
Okay. So Catherine Wright's keynote speech was about the significance of amplifying voices and perspectives in religious education. She highlighted the necessity for professional development, fostering connections and fostering innovation within SACRE. The presentation that she did raised questions about the engagement of multi-academy trusts in and their association with RE and how seriously they take it within their schools, and that as SACRE, we should try and actively encourage them to participate by attending conferences like ARIAC, sharing our expertise with them and trying to strengthen our collaborations with MAT schools. She also stressed that the need for local authorities to understand what truly matters to the multi-academy trust CEOs, like what is their main aim for their schools, because I can guarantee that some of them don't have RE at the top of the agenda, is what she was talking about there. She also discussed the important insights shared by Colin Bloom in his review, Does the Government Do God?, which called for reinforcing RE, enhancing community relations and promoting collaborations with others. Furthermore, her speech was just about promotion in understanding, embracing diversity and safeguarding freedom of religions and beliefs. And she said that the platform to do that and to reflect upon the freedom of religion and beliefs is SACRE, and that we do it well and that we should continue on doing it.
Thank you, Alexia. It was really great having Alexia there. And Taranum, do you just want to explain how you've been working with Catherine or are working with Catherine on a project for that freedom of religious belief in RE?
Thank you, Claire. So myself included with other teachers across England have been working on this government project called Freedom of Religion or Belief, where we are in a process of creating and organizing some resources that can be used across the country in other places where you might not see as diverse a representation as we have in Newham. So I have started to plan lessons, and then there would be a process where we would take children interview, try to make it as accessible to children as possible. And yeah, we'll be meeting next week again. That would be our second meeting, and there'll be a report written at the end, and that would be then taken forward to the government side, the legal side, and we'll know more in future how it will be used across the country.
Thanks, Taranum. It's really exciting again that Newham is involved in this freedom of religious belief resources, and hopefully there'll be a pack of resources that will be government tagged, that will go into every primary school here, but also looking at Europe. So the fact that Taranum's one of the 5 involved is very prestigious.
Excellent.
Then, so Charles Clerk, the MP, was there. He's patron of the SACRE, and I know that SACRE it's not always the most glamorous work, but if you ever want a little pep talk from somebody about the importance of SACRE, you want to go and speak to Charles Clerk. It's the second time I've heard him, and I think by the end of it, everybody just wants to get up and improve community cohesion and do more SACRE stuff. It's fantastic. He's a great supporter of it. So he makes everyone feel great for being there and for being involved in SACRE. He made a couple of interesting points. So first of all, the great job SACREs do and how important it is. He also mentions how central government have not been particularly helpful to SACREs over the years. And I think his main advice was really, it's quite a difficult one, but it was about SACREs doing more self-promotion, more lobbying, and maybe throwing their weight around a little bit and reminding people that we're here and what we do. And so he's basically suggests that people aren't going to necessarily come from above and ask for our opinion, but maybe we should be giving our opinion a bit more. But that was great. And then the final keynote speaker was David Hampshire. He rather laboriously goes through every single annual report submitted by SACREs, and then produces statistics based on those to give a view of what people are reporting on, and what SACREs are doing across the country. And there's some kind of interesting statistics that come out of this. I mean, so one or two of them are sort of shocking. So there are 153 SACREs in the UK, and fewer than 50% are submitting annual reports.
So last year, fewer than 50%.
Yeah.
So we got the DFE the year before to send a letter to every local authority who didn't submit, and that will be the next thing that we do as an executive, is get the DFE to send out those letters. And what the DFE did 2 years ago is that they said to councils that they will start penalising them from the CSSB fund if they're not actually doing their legal work. So strangely, 2 years ago, we got loads of annual reports submitted because these letters have gone out. The DFE didn't want to send them last year, but they'll be sending them again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and 2001 clearly was a particularly low year, but between 2020, 2021, 2022, only 28 SACREs submitted every single year, of which Newham was one of them. So that's great.
just so we know, we're one of the good ones.
Yeah.
And that's the reason because of COVID, is it?
Well, COVID definitely 2021, but actually it's just the numbers are low. They just have been for a long time. So COVID had a profound effect on SACRE's work, and they delayed fair few agreed syllabus reviews, including our own, and that was noted. And then when you look into the statistics within the reports, of course, there's a lot of bias involved here, because those SACREs that are not producing reports are probably not they're probably not the standard. And so already just by the fact that you've submitted a report probably means you're better than you're at least sort of medium to top tier. So that's an important thing to bear in mind. And then, of course, SACREs can often do lots of work that they don't put in their annual report. And in fact, that was something that we discovered, and going back and getting feedback from the various training. And although actually Claire has been very diligent doing this, we never actually reported on it before. And now we know we report on it because David Hampshire will come along and read it and say, oh, these people have done that. So,
yeah, he's saying that we've got lots of impact evidence basically that we're not using. So it's true, every course that we run, we have how many people have been on it, how they rated it, what they gained from it, what that's led to back in school. But I think, gosh, that's a lot of detail. I know it, but he's saying, no, put it in.
Yeah.
So it's good not to be told off, but it's good to have the bar raised.
Yeah.
We can do it. It's just we haven't done it before.
I think the one positive thing that came out of the pandemic, pretty much across SACREs, was hybrid meetings, which is of course something that we've benefited from. And I think you hear about a lot of SACREs having difficulties being quorate. And we also talk about the support from local authority, and that in Newham we're lucky that we have strong support. Some SACREs are not quorate because they have no representatives from the local authority turning up. And I think there's loads of other statistics, and his whole presentation is available on the SACRE website. Lots of reporting on like GCSEs so there's good reporting on GCSEs, less so on A levels, and then actually primary and secondary are sort of similar, just more generally. 27% SACRE is reporting on monitoring of collective worship. Also,
we are one of the 27%.
And there's a lot of monitoring being done electronically, and this is actually helping things, which is email and just monitoring through websites, through Zoom meetings. You'd have to turn up to person, and then even sending out Google polls or whatever to gather evidence.
Like we do.
Exactly. Yeah. So these sorts of tools, this use of technology is really making some of SACRE's monitoring job a little bit easier. And then here, so 92% of SACREs mention training, but 32% mention monitoring of training. So this is something that we can probably work on. And I think there were a few final points, but I think the one that most applies to us was that SACREs would do well to report on the impact of their work. So what was the response to advice given? So we're often giving advice. but then do we follow up and say, you know, was this helpful? How did this impact the decisions you made? And then what difference did the event that SACRE put on actually make? So I think this is something that we can work towards. And the other thing, so Claire has only ever disappointed me once. And it was in the lead up to the SACRE, because there were awards given out to people who've made great contributions to SACRE over the years. And I said to Claire, of course, of all the people in Newham SACRE, are we allowed to nominate you for an award? And Claire said no.
Yeah.
And this turned out not to be true. And Claire's modesty, I'm afraid, got in the way. But I would like to say to Claire that I'm pretty sure that all of us would have said she would deserve an award for being fantastic. And yes, and I'm very disappointed that she lied. Well, I would never lie.
I honestly thought I'm part of the I'm part of the conference organising team, and I didn't really feel as part of the conference organising team I could have myself being given an award, so it just felt slightly uncomfortable to me.
I'm equally disappointed now
Sorry,
as well
Sir
to learn this as well, because although we are on the exec committee, we are part of this SACRE as well, Newham SACRE, and for that I would agree with Ed. That, you know, you've done a hell of a lot of work on the day of the conference, as we all know. I mean, Ed was there, Alexia was there, and I'm sure lots of the chair of the SACRE equally feels for that. So a very thank you on behalf of the Newham SACRE for your contribution to the SACRE as well.
I also feel I get paid to be here, and volunteers don't.
Oh, but I think you do more. I know that you're paid, but I think you go above.
I think it's peanuts for the work you do.
Well, there's my defence. My defence is obviously failing. There you go. Anyway.
But anyway, this also gave me an opportunity to recognise the work of some other people on SACRE. And I think the first person I would like to present this wonderful certificate to is Marie. And also, so Marie, for those who don't know, of course, was our chair for a number of years. And then finally, the other award we'd like to present to someone who is not with us today and maybe can't hear is Ellen. Can you hear Ellen? Longest serving member of SACRE. We have
We'll put it in the post to you, Ellen. We've got a certificate for you.
And a little prize. And also, Ellen, I understand that today is your final SACRE meeting.
Oh. Ellen, is it or isn't it? If it's not, it's all right. I know Ellen was looking to retire at the end of this year. So we can't hear you, Ellen. Put your sound on.
No, I'm very aware that I often am the only church member, like tonight, and also that I'm the only governor, and I have been trying to encourage, as we have a vacancy on the Church of England panel, to get it filled.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to last forever.
No,
and,
you're not.
I'm starting now.
Okay. Well, Ellen, you're irreplaceable. So
yes.
So I speak to the Archdeacon tomorrow morning at the meeting.
Great.
Well, we have an award for you and a little goodie bag and a card. So
thank you.
We'll get that to you, Ellen. But thank you for all that you do.
Yeah. Okay, I think that brings that.
Yeah, place of worship competition, judging.
Sorry, everyone. I need to go. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Take
all
care.
right. Bye, Steve.
Bye.
Taranum has started today. How far did you get, Taranum?
I got to key stage 2. I've only got few to do.
Okay. So we think by the end of this weekend, Taranum and I will have a short list that we can email, but we need a few SACRE members to have a look, and then on a sheet of paper, we will have shortlisted the best entries. And then we want you to highlight in, we thought, yellow, which you thought was the best, and maybe in, I don't know, green or something.
I put blue, Claire.
Oh, you put blue, that's fine. Blue, we'll highlight in blue the second best. And then Taranum and I next Wednesday can have a look at that and then hopefully get your feelings on it. So what we'd really like is some people to volunteer that Taranum can send this to, or I can send it to when we've got it done. So we will try and get it done this week so that you've got next week to have a look at it, and then we'll go from there. But we've got a lot of entries. We're not giving you all the entries. We're shortlisting the entries. So I reckon half an hour, Taranum.
I would say yes, less than that if you're really quick at, because I've added.
You're a decisive person, less than half an hour. Obviously, if you're in a school, you can't do your school. So Marie couldn't do Brampton, Aisha can't do Ranelagh, but could people either put their hands up so that I can just make a note and Taranum can make a note of anyone. So Jane, Ed, thank you. Alicia, Marie, Aisha, Pooja.
Is it going to be next week that this will be available?
Yes. Yeah, okay, thanks, Yael, sorry.
And I can't say yes because I should be on leave. I fear if I take work with me, I shall be divorced.
No, I think that's a right and proper thing, Anne. Not that for you to be divorced, but you know, you shouldn't take work with you. That's fine. So that gives 8 people. And I suppose the other thing is that we've got our celebration in July. Oh, I'm just trying to keep the screen up so that you can see Ed. A minute. So Quat's got it a moment. Because it is it the 14th, 13th of July. We'll know the school after we've done our shortlisting, so I'll let you know. But again, the 13th of July after school, I need SACRE members to hand out prizes and certificates and have your photo taken with children.
No, that's
of July.
the day of fine.
Is it?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a bit different.
So some schools will be closed.
Because
Yeah.
that will be used.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Does that work well or does that work badly?
No.
Should we see first of all which school it is that comes out on top and then
See if they're a voting place. I'm just wondering, is it easier for parents to get to something after school on a, I mean, what I understand is for you as councillors, you're going to be at polling stations. I can't put it on a Friday, can I?
No.
No, Friday's not good.
And the week after is no good. Oh, I can't do it on the. Could potentially do it on Tuesday the 11th. Do you want? Can people do Tuesday the 11th after school?
Right, I think.
Okay, I'm going to put both dates in my diary, and then
see how it works.
We'll see how it works out.
When you're down there, are you available for 11th time? You need to be there.
I'm going to be in Ireland.
Oh yeah. So that week, yes. You did say that, yeah.
Just got too busy a social like that. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, it's Christopher's niece, so I feel I can't really not go.
Oh no.
And he's doing the service. So.
No, that's true. You do need to be with Christopher.
Yeah. And we're going on the Tuesday morning, coming back Thursday evening.
Oh,
so
right.
knocks out both.
Yeah.
So meetings for next year, Shirley, I think next. No, we looked. That's what I went to send it to somebody, and then I thought I remember we put some.
Give me a second, I'll list them. I thought they were on the agenda. So the next meeting. Right. Yeah, I'm really sorry. We're not able. We can't get into our files now. So the next meeting is October. If you, I can send a quick email to Claire and the chair and vice chair tomorrow to confirm the date. And then if you're happy with them, I can put them in everyone's diary. I have booked, I really booked your accommodation for East Ham Town Hall.
Oh,
right, that's good.
cancelled the ACM last month with the Callingers meeting. And SACRE were one of the few committees that haven't been changed. Quite a few of them have. Yeah.
Okay.
So apologies.
So Shirley will send dates to me and the chair and vice chair tomorrow. I'll send them on to everybody once we've agreed them, and then
Be aware of the changed half term in October.
Yes.
It's a week earlier than usual.
so yeah, so basically there's a 2-week half term for many schools, which basically ranges from the 20th of October until the 3rd of November. So if we've got East Ham Town Hall, then our February one, we want to be in a place of worship maybe, which leaves our June one again in a school. So we've got plenty of time to sort out venues. And what I'll do is, if you remember, I had a list of where we'd last been. So if I go back to that, we hadn't been to the church for like over 7 years. So I'll go to the next place of worship. We'll carry on through our.
I'm sure Bart's. We can have it, or St Edmund. Yeah.
I think we had a I think let's see what the others.
The one that we did before the pandemic was Ramgara Gurdwara. So that was, oh no, it was Kishore's, and then the Ramgara Gurdwara.
Temple, yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to be the Buddhist place is the next one, but I will check. I think it's probably Buddhist because I think then we went to Green Street Mosque.
That's right. Yeah.
There we go. I think that is everything on my list.
Is that a date or a place?
It's place.
Is there a date?
Because Shirley can't get into the system to give us the dates.
Yes, that's all right. Okay, but it's October.
It's October.
Chair, I've got an item. I got an item for any other.
Please have one. I brought Tiffin.
What's that?
Just very quickly, since Anne is there and Amar is here. Recently, we had quite a few stabbing around the High Street North area, which I sent the email to yourself and regarding this issue. So we're getting the local communities together. I mean, this is like spearheading the activities. Like
Go louder.
Getting the community groups together. So if anybody aware, especially the school governors, Sarah, if you have any reports or anything in our High Street North, any activities of violence, stabbing or anything, and I'll write an email to Rachel as well on this. Regarding the issue, what's happening currently, and it's very concerning. I mean, we had recently 2 stabbing within the 2 months period, and various muggings and all sorts of things in the East Ham High Street North area. So that's
recently in East Ham as well, and they had 2 fly in the air ambulance, and then there was another one.
Yes. So it is kind of alarming situations which are highlighted to, like an armor or our safety and crime officer from Newham and Anne, and also our mayor, Roxana Fiaz, I mean, also been informed of this situation. So we are collectively looking into this and to move forward. So if anybody has any information and they want to contribute or give us some, whatever feedback, or like, if you know any cases or whatever, that would be absolutely good. Thank you.
So you've got SACRE's email as part of our normal SACRE.
Also,
we need to do the GDPR before we go, which is just to say, I think this is the last thing for tonight, isn't it? I have a database with all of you lovely people on it. As you know, I email things out to all of you. We agreed 4 years ago, we haven't done it since before the pandemic was the last time, was that whether you wanted me to BCC you in that, or whether you were all happy for each other to have each other's emails, and you decided as a group you were happy for each other. But I'm going to say sometimes you don't have to reply all. Sometimes you only need to reply to Claire.
Most of the time.
And can we think of that when we hit the reply button? Sometimes it's absolutely right that it's to everybody, but sometimes I think you feel like you shouldn't leave anyone out. But actually, you could always put Ed and Anne in as your chair and vice chair, and myself. But I don't think generally reply to all we need to do. Is that okay?
I think it's probably because the button for reply to all is bigger. So you can see it and you can put your finger on it easily and right to everybody.
Yeah.
Phone.
Yes, yes.
That's the thing, because on our Outlook, reply all comes first.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
I think that's probably why you do get that. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, otherwise.
No, I agree.
Yeah, if everybody can be a little bit cautious, because if you're having a busy day and you get the same email and you still have to open the email, and it's time and a distance in our environment.
Worthwhile that it is BCC'd anyway for everybody, because everybody has each other's email addresses, unless they've changed.
No, I think the reason we went down that route to everybody, because sometimes there are situations that everybody needs to, like Anne said, does need to reply. Then it's looking for every single body, like everywhere. It's time consuming, and that was one of the reasons behind it when we said to Claire that we're okay with it.
I just think maybe some people had forgotten. So I just thought I'd do a little reminder. I mean, I get them anyway, so it makes no difference to me, but I'm thinking about other people. And Shirley, would you like to explain what you've got? If you come and talk here.
Thank you. I prepared a list of all our SACRE members, and I understand there's a couple of new teachers I need to add on with your email address that I currently have. What I would, this document, which is not quite relevant now because so many of you are online, I wanted for you to confirm I had the correct email address, and if you could give me an address, a preferred postal address. SACRE is one of the few agendas we allow to be printed and sent out in advance, so it could be helpful. For the councillors, I have all of you, I'm confident with you, and a number of you I know if you want it sent at your schools, if you're teachers, that's pretty easy. But those from the other faiths, I may need a postal address. And also I did have a little document here that you signed that you're happy for me to hold this. But because so many of you are not here, I wonder if I can do a BCC email, and if you just reply to me with your preferred address and confirm I have the corrected details. I'll give you a few questions. This is my email address. This is my postal address. Yes, I'm happy for you to keep this and share it with the membership. Yeah, do you think that would work better?
Yes, that sounds great to me. And everyone, just so you're aware, that the agenda and the pack is also posted online ahead of the meeting. So if there's a few days for the meeting and you go, I haven't received my pack, if you go on the new website, you'll be able to find a link. It's generally been produced.
Yeah, I'm just mindful there's quite a lot of papers and documents. If you want to make notes, it's useful to have a postal address so you could get a paper copy.
Yeah, and we know a few people haven't been having those, so that's why we wanted to do the GDPR update. But also it's right, for Shirley, we have to do this every so often to make sure that everyone's in agreement that she can hold your details. And actually, I think the details also should be that I'm okay to hold them and use them. Yeah. So then we can do it all in the one document, not in two. So we'll email that out to you again, maybe tomorrow. So Shirley will do it tomorrow. Fabulous.
May I just clarify? If we want to print, do we have to say if we want a printed copy, or you'd send it anyway?
SACRE is because you're not just councillors.
Yes.
You're an outside body as such. We agree that printed copies are allowed.
And to post them for us anyway.
Everywhere. Once I've got everybody's address then.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you.
Sorry, Ed, the sun's back in your face.
No, it's all right. That's all right. Well, anyway, I think that's the end of the meeting. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Bit of a long one, but thanks.